afternoon. Who wants her? Oh, hang on just a minute. Mother? Mother?
Yes, dear?
Telephone.
Oh, no, not with all of them in there. Just say I'm busy.
But it's the society editor of the evening news feed.
Oh, Miss Ellery, the society editor? Why, she's very important. Good afternoon, Miss Ellerby. This is Vita Simmons. Yes, tea and reception for the members of the Wednesday Forum. Yes, you might say program tea. Yes, my mother, you know, the late Marcella Penny Dowd, she was a cultural pioneer leader who came here by ox team as a child. Yes, she founded the Wednesday Forum. Yes. Oh, how many would you say, Myrtle?
75. Say 100.
75. Miss Tewksbury is the soloist, accompanied by Wilder McCurdy, accompanist.
Oh, Mother, come on. Miss Tewksbury's almost finished with her number.
Oh, she'll do an encore.
Oh, what if she doesn't get a lot of applause?
Oh, I've known her for years, and she'll do an encore. Yes, you might say I am entertaining, assisted by my daughter, Miss Myrtle May Simmons. Yes. Oh, what color would you call that?
Rancho Rose. That's what they told me.
Miss Myrtle May Simmons looked charming in a Rancho Rose-toned lace, caught up at the waist with just a touch of magenta on emerald. Yes, oh, I do wish you could see her, Miss Ellerby. Yes.
Mother, come on. She's almost finished, and where's the cateress?
Oh, everything's ready. Why, just as soon as she's finished singing, we'll open the dining room doors and begin pouring. Oh, the parlors and halls are festooned with smilex. Yes, festooned. Yes. Oh, yes it is, Miss Ellerby. This is the first party we've had in years. Yes, there's a reason for that, but we wouldn't want that in the papers. We all have our troubles, Miss Ellerby. Oh, the guest list? Oh, yes.
Mother, come on.
Oh, if you'll excuse me now, Miss Ellerby, I'll call you later.
Mother, Mrs. Chauvenet just came in.
Oh, why, Mrs. Eugene Chauvenet, Senior, why, her father was a scout with Buffalo Bill.
That's where she got that hat.
Oh, you must be kind to Mrs. Chauvenet, Myrtle May. Why, she has a grandson just about your age.
Oh, and if I do, what does it matter with Uncle Elwood here?
Oh, Myrtle, we promised that we wouldn't speak of that this afternoon, you know. The point of this whole party is to get you started. We're going to work through those older women to the younger group.
What does it matter? We can't have guests in the evening, and that's when men come to visit in the evening. The only reason why we can have this party this afternoon is because Uncle Elwood's playing pinochle at the 4th Avenue Firehouse. Thank God for the firehouse.
Well, Myrtle, I know that, but they'll just have to invite you out, and it won't hurt them one bit. Why, you have so much to offer, Myrtle. I don't care what anyone says. There's something sweet about every young girl, and a man takes that sweetness and look what he does with it. You just got to be somebody, Myrtle. That's all there is to it.
And if I do, they say there's Myrtle May Simmons. Her uncle is Elwood P. Dow, the biggest screwball in town. Elwood P. Dow and his pal.
You promised.
Okay, let's get him in the dining room.
No, now remember, when you give your little speech, welcome speech on behalf of your grandmother, be sure to do that.
And then I mention my Uncle Elwood and I say a few words about Harvey. Harvey.
Oh. Why, you promised you wouldn't say that name, and you said it.
I'm sorry, but how do you know Uncle Elwood isn't going to introduce Harvey to everyone?
Well, that's most unkind of you, Myrtle. Elwood is the biggest heartache I have. And even if people do say that he is peculiar, he's still my brother. And he's not going to be home this afternoon.
Are you sure?
Of course I'm sure.
Why can't we just live like other people?
Well, now, must I remind you again that Elwood is not living with us. We're living with him.
Yes, with him and Harvey. Did Grandmother know about Harvey?
Well, you know, I've wondered and wondered about that. But if she did, she never wrote to tell me.
Oh, why did she have to leave all her property to Uncle Elwood?
Well, I suppose it's because she died in his arms. You know, people are sentimental about things like that.
You always say that, and it doesn't make any sense. She couldn't have written out her will after she died, could she?
Oh, don't be didactic, Myrtle May. It's most unbecoming in a young girl, and men loathe it. Now, remember to do this.
I'll do my best.
Oh, Miss Tewksbury's voice is certainly fading.
Not fast enough.
Lovely, Miss Tewksbury, just lovely. I love it.
Excuse me a moment. I'm going to have to answer the phone. Oh, please, make yourself comfortable, Harvey. Hello? Oh, you've got the wrong number, but how are you anyway? This is Elwood P. Dowd speaking. I'll do. Well, thank you. And what is your name, my dear? Miss Elsie Greenewald. Harvey, it's a Miss Elsie Greenewald. How are you today, Miss Greenewald? That's nice. What's that? Why, yes. Why, I'd be happy to join your club. Well, I belong to several now. The University Club, the Country Club, the Pinochle Club at the 4th Avenue Firehouse. Oh, I spend a lot of time there, or over at Charlie's place, or at Eddie's bar. And just what is your club, Miss Greenewald? Well, Harvey, I get the Ladies' Home Journal, Good Housekeeping, and the Open Road for Boys for 2 years for $6.25. Well, that sounds fine with me, Miss Greenewald. Well, yes, I'll join it. How about you, Harvey? Well, Harvey says it's fine with him also, Miss Greenewald. Yes, he'll join too. That's 2 subscriptions. Mail everything to this address. What's that? Well, I hope I have the pleasure of meeting you sometime too, my dear. Harvey, she says she would like to meet me. When? When would you like to meet me, Miss Greenewald? How about right now? My sister seems to be having a few friends over, and we would be honored if you would come and join us. Well, my sister will be delighted. That's 323 Temple Drive. Well, I hope to see you in a very few minutes. Goodbye, my dear. She's coming right over. Harvey, don't you think we'd better go up and freshen up? So do I. Oh, after you.
I just can't seem to remember where I left that guest list. I must read it to Miss Ellerby.
Mother, Mrs. Chauvenet's asking for you.
Oh, Mrs. Chauvenet.
Mrs. Chauvenet, here's Mother. Here she is.
Vida Louise Simmons. I thought you were dead.
Oh, no. Oh, thank you. I'm very much alive.
And this full-grown girl is your daughter? Why, I've known you since you were a baby.
I know.
What's your name, dear?
Oh, this is Myrtle, Aunt Ethel. Myrtle May for the two sisters of her brother. He's dead. That's what confused you.
Where's Elwood?
Oh, he couldn't be here this afternoon. Aunt Ethel, shall I get you some tea?
Elwood isn't here?
No.
Well, shame on him. That was the main reason I came. I want to see Elwood.
Oh, come. There are loads of people anxious to speak to you.
Do you realize, Vida, it's been years since I've seen Elwood?
Oh, no. Where does the time go?
But I don't understand it. I was saying to Mr. Chauvenet only the other night, what on earth do you suppose has happened to Elwood Dowd? He never comes to the club dances anymore, and I haven't seen him at a horse show in years. Does Elwood see anybody these days?
Oh, yes, Aunt Ethel.
Oh, yes. Your Uncle Elwood, child, is one of my favorite people. Always has been.
Yes, I remember.
Is Elwood happy, Vida?
Oh, yes, Aunt Ethel. Elwood's very happy. You don't need to worry about Elwood. Oh, there's Mrs. Frank Cummings just came in. Don't you want to speak to her?
Oh, she looks ghastly. Hasn't she failed, though?
Oh, if you think she looks badly, you should see him.
Is that so? I must have them over. She looks frightful. I thought she was dead.
Oh, no.
Now, what about that tea, Vida?
Oh, certainly, if you just allow me to precede you into the... Oh, Elwood! Elwood Dowd, bless your heart.
Aunt Ethel, how wonderful to come in and see a beautiful woman waiting for me.
Elwood, you haven't changed.
Oh, Aunt Ethel, you mustn't miss the party.
Yes, there's punch if you don't like tea.
But I do like tea. Stop pulling at me, you two. Elwood, what night next week can you come to dinner?
Why, any night at all, I'd be delighted.
Oh, Elwood, there was some mail for you today. I took it up to your room.
Oh, did you, Vida? Now, that was very nice of you. Aunt Ethel, I want you to meet Harvey. As you can see, he's a puka. Harvey, you've heard me speak of Mrs. Chauvenet. Why, you know, call her Aunt Ethel. Yes, she's one of my oldest and dearest friends. What's that? Yes, she's the one. Yes, that's her. Oh, Harvey said he would have known you anywhere. Oh, my. You both look lovely. Come along with me, Harvey. We must go in and say hello to all of our friends. Oh, pardon me, Aunt Ethel. Oh, excuse me
What?
just a moment. You're standing in his way. Come along, Harvey. No. Oh, goodness. Yes. Okay. You go along in, and I'll join you in just a minute. Oh, Aunt Ethel. I can see you're disturbed about Harvey. Oh, please don't be. Why, he stares like that at everybody. It's just his way. But he liked you. I could tell he liked you very much.
Some tea, perhaps?
Oh, not right now. I'll just be running along.
But you must.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I'll be talking with you soon. Goodbye. Goodbye.
Myrtle May, where are you going?
Up to my room. Uncle Elwood is introducing Harvey to everyone. I can't face those people. I just wish I were dead.
Now you come back down here and stay with me. We'll get him out of there somehow and up to his room.
Oh, I won't.
Now, Myrtle May, come down here. Now, can you see? Okay, let's pretend that I'm fixing your croissant.
Mother.
Well, now we've got to. Pretend we're having a gay little chat. Just, and you keep looking, and when you catch his eye, you tell me. He always comes when I call him. Now, do you see him yet?
No, not yet. How do you do, Mrs. Cummings?
Oh, smile, child. Have you no pride? Why, I'm smiling, and he's my own brother.
People get hit by trucks every day. Why couldn't something like that happen to Uncle Elwood?
Myrtle May Simmons, I'm ashamed of you. Why, this thing is not your uncle's fault.
Ouch! Stuck me with that pen!
Oh, but Miss Ellerby, you keep looking and keep
Mrs.
smiling.
Cummings is leaving. Uncle Elwood must have told me what Harvey is.
Hello. Yes, this is Vita Simmons. Should you come in what you have on? What have you on? Who is this? I don't know, a Miss Greenawalt. Should you what? Well, may I ask who invited you? A Mr. Dowd. Well, I believe there has been a mistake. Excuse me. Well, I never.
Never what, Mother?
That was one of your Uncle Elwood's friends wanting to know if she should bring a quart of gin to the Wednesday forum.
He's talking to Mrs. Halsey.
Is Harvey with him?
Oh, what a thing to ask. How should I know? How should anyone know but Uncle Elwood?
Oh, Elwood, would you come here a moment, please? Oh, I promise you that your Uncle Elwood has disgraced us for the last time in this house. I'm going to do something I've never done before.
Well, what did you mean earlier about it wasn't Uncle Elwood's fault? If it isn't Uncle Elwood's fault, whose fault is it?
Well, never you mind. I know whose fault it is. Now, you just go back in there, hold up your head, and keep smiling just as if nothing had happened.
You're no match for Uncle Elwood.
You'll see. Oh, Elwood, could I speak to you for a moment, please?
Why, yes, sister. Excuse me, Harvey.
Elwood, would you mind sitting down in here and waiting for me until the party's over? I want to talk to you about something, and it's very important.
Well, of course, sister. I just happen to have a little free time now, and you're welcome to all of it, Vita. Oh, do you want Harvey to stay too?
Yes, I certainly do.
Have a seat, Harvey. Vita said she wants to talk to us. She said it was important. Well, I think she wants to congratulate us on the impression we made at her party this afternoon. What's that? Oh, it's Jane Austen. Mm-hmm. Yes? What? Deluxe edition, limited. What's that? Oh, Grosset and Dunlap, the usual acknowledgments. Oh, here. Let me read it to you. Chapter 1. The rector of Silverstone was gray in the evening.
Mrs. O.R. Simmons, 343 Temple Drive. Is that right?
Oh, we were born and raised there. It's old, but we love it. It's our home.
And you wish to enter your brother here at the sanitarium for treatment. Your brother's name?
Oh.
Mrs. Simmons, what is your brother's name?
I'm sorry, but life is not easy for any of us. But I just have to hold up my head and go on just the same. That's what I keep telling Myrtle. And that's what Myrtle May keeps telling me. Oh, she's just heartbroken about her Uncle Elwood. Oh, Elwood P. Dowd. That's it.
Elwood P. Dowd. His age?
Oh, he'll be 47 next week. He's a Taurus. Taurus the bull. I'm a Leo, and Myrtle is on a cusp.
47. Is he married?
Oh, no, Elwood never married. He stayed with Mother. He's a great homeboy. He loves his home.
You have him here with you now?
Yes, he's down in a cab in the driveway. I gave the driver $1 to watch him, but I didn't tell him why. You just can't tell those things to perfect strangers.
Mr. Wilson, would you step down to a taxi in the driveway and ask a Mr. Dowd if he'd be good enough to step up to room number 24, South Wing G?
Ask him?
This is his sister, Mrs. Simmons.
Why, certainly. I'd be happy to escort Mr. Dowd.
Thank you.
The rates here, Mrs. Simmons, you'll find them printed on this card.
Oh, no, that'll all be taken care of by my mother's estate. The late Marcella Penny Dowd. Jeff Gaffney is our attorney.
Well, now I'll see if Dr. Sanderson can see you.
Oh, Dr. Sanderson. Oh, but I want to see Dr. Chumley himself.
Oh, Mrs. Simmons, Dr. Sanderson is the one who sees everybody. Dr. Chumley sees no one.
Oh, but he's still the head of this institution, isn't he? And he's still a psychiatrist, isn't he?
Dr. Chumley is more than a psychiatrist. He's a psychiatrist with a national reputation. Whenever people have mental breakdowns, they at once think of Dr. Chumley.
Well, now that's his office, isn't it? You just march right in there and tell him I want to see him. I'm sure he'll come out if he knows who's here.
I wouldn't dare disturb him, Mrs. Simmons. I would be discharged if I did.
Well, I don't like being pushed off onto any second fiddle.
Dr. Sanderson is nobody's second fiddle. He's young and he hasn't been out of medical school very long. But Dr. Chumley tried out 12 and kept Dr. Sanderson. He's really wonderful to the patients.
Oh, well, very well. Tell him I'm here.
Right away.
Oh, Vita, isn't this place wonderful? Oh!
Mrs. Simmons?
Oh, you startled me. I didn't hear you come in. You're Dr. Sanderson?
Yes, so won't you be seated, please?
Oh, thank you. I hope you don't think I'm that jumpy all the time, but
Oh, of course not. Now, Miss Kelly tells me you're concerned about your brother, Dowd. Is it Elwood P. Dowd?
Yes, Doctor. This isn't easy for me, Doctor.
Well, naturally, it's never easy for the families of patients. I understand.
But it's what Elwood's doing to himself. That's the thing. Why, Myrtle May has a right to nice friends. She's young and has her whole life before her. That's my daughter.
Your daughter. Now tell me, how long has it been since you began to notice any peculiarity in your brother's actions?
Oh, I noticed it right away when Mother died and Myrtle May and I came back from Des Moines to live with Elwood. I could tell that he... What, Miss Simmons? Take your time, don't strain. I'll wait for it. Well, everything I say to you is confidential, isn't it?
Oh, that's understood.
Because it's just a slap in the face for what we've stood for in this community, the way Elwood's acting now.
Mrs. Simmons, I am not a gossip. I am a psychiatrist.
Well, for one thing, he drinks.
To excess?
To excess. Well, don't you think it's excess when a man never lets a day go by without stepping into one of those cheap taverns and sitting around with riff-raff and people you never heard of and inviting them to the house and playing cards with them and giving them food and money? And here I am trying to get Myrtle May started with a nice group of young people. Oh, if that isn't excess, Doctor, then I don't know what excess is.
I didn't doubt your statement, Mrs. Simmons. I merely asked if your brother drinks.
Well, I say yes, definitely he drinks. And I cannot stand to live in that house another day with that Harvey. Why, Myrtle May and I have to set a place at the table for Harvey. We have to move over on the sofa to make room for Harvey. And we have to answer the telephone when Elwood wants to speak to Harvey. Oh, it's just too much, Doctor. And today, with Mrs. Chauvenet there at the party, oh, why, we didn't know anything about Harvey until we came back here. Doctor, don't you think it would have been a little bit kinder of Mother to have written and told me about Harvey? Now, be honest, don't you?
Well, I really couldn't answer that question because
Well, I can. Yes, it certainly would.
This person you call Harvey, who is he?
He's a rabbit.
Perhaps, but just who is he? Some companion of your brother? Someone he picked up in one of these bars of whom you disapprove?
Doctor, I've been telling you. Harvey is a rabbit. A big, white rabbit. Why, he's 6 feet high. Or is it 6.5? Heaven knows he's been around the house long enough. I ought to know.
Now, Mrs. Simmons, let me see if I understand this. You say...
Do I have to keep repeating myself, Doctor? My brother insists that his closest friend is this big white rabbit. And this rabbit's name is Harvey. And Harvey lives at our house. Don't you understand? Why, Elwood and Harvey go every place together. Elwood buys railroad tickets and theater tickets, and for both of them. As I was telling Myrtle May, if her Uncle Elwood was so lonesome that he had to bring something home, why couldn't he bring something human? Why, he has me, doesn't he? And he has Myrtle May, doesn't he? Doctor, I'm going to tell you something that I never told anybody in the whole world before. Every once in a while, I see that big white rabbit myself. Why, I've never even told that to Myrtle May.
Now, Mrs. Simmons, you just calm yourself.
Well, and he's every bit as big as Elwood says he is. Now, don't tell that to anybody, Doctor. I'm so ashamed.
I can see you've been under a great deal of stress recently.
Oh, I certainly have.
Grief over your mother's death depressed you considerably?
Oh, nobody knows how much.
Been losing sleep?
How could anyone sleep with all that going on?
Short-tempered over trifles?
Well, you just try living with those two, Doctor, and see how your temper holds on.
Loss of appetite.
Nobody could eat at a table with my brother and a big white rabbit. Why, I'm finished with it, Doctor. I'm going to sell the house and be named conservator of Elwood's estate. And then Myrtle May and I can entertain our friends in peace. It's just too much, Doctor. I just can't stand it.
Of course, Mrs. Simmons, of course. You're tired.
Oh, yes, I am.
And you've been worrying a great deal.
Yes, I have. I just can't help it.
And now I'm going to help you.
Oh, Doctor.
Now you just sit right there quietly and I'll be right back.
Well, I'll just run down to the cab and get his things.
Why didn't someone answer the buzzer?
I didn't hear you, Doctor.
I rang and rang. Mrs. Simmons. Mrs. Simmons. Oh, Mrs. Simmons. Sound the gong, Wilson. That poor woman must not leave the grounds.
Made for a getaway, eh, Doc?
Her condition is serious. Go after her. Front gate. Henry, Dr. Sanderson. Allow no one out of the main gate. We're looking for a patient. I should never have left her alone, but no one answered the buzzer.
Wilson was in South, Doctor.
What have we available?
Number 13 Upper West R is ready, Doctor.
Have her taken there immediately, and I will prescribe preliminary treatment. We must contact the brother. Elwood P. Dowd. Get him on the telephone for me, please, Miss Kelly, right away.
But, Doctor, I didn't know it was the woman who needed the treatment. She said it was for her brother.
Well, of course she did. Oldest ploy in the world. Always used by a cunning type of psychopath. Apparently, she knew he was coming out here today to commit her, so she came out to discredit him. Get him on the telephone for me, please.
But, Doctor, I thought that the woman was all right, so I had Wilson take the brother up to number 24 South Wing G. He's there now.
You had the brother taken in? Miss Kelly, no gags, please. You're not serious, are you?
I did, Doctor. I did. Oh, Doctor, I'm terribly sorry.
Oh, well, if you're sorry, that fixes everything. Oh, no. Oh.
I'll do it. Miss Dunphy, will you unlock the door to number 24, give Mr. Dowd his clothes, and
Ask him to step down to the office right away.
ask him to step down to the office right away? There's been a terrible mistake, and Dr. Sanderson wants to explain.
Explain. Apologize.
Thank heavens she hadn't put him in a hydro tub yet. They'll let him out.
Beautiful. And dumb, too. It's almost too good to be true.
Dr. Sanderson, I feel terrible. I didn't know. Judge Gaffney called this afternoon and said that Mrs. Simmons and her brother would be out. And when she came in here, you don't have to be sarcastic.
Oh, don't I? Well, don't worry. We'll squirm out of this some way.
Where are you going?
Well, I've got to go tell the chief about it. He may want to handle this one himself.
Oh, he'll be furious.
I know.
I know he will. He'll die. And then he'll terminate me.
The responsibility is all mine, Miss Kelly.
No, Doctor, tell me it was all my fault.
I never mention your name, except in my sleep.
But this man Dowd.
Don't let him get away. I'll be right back.
But what shall I say? What shall I do? He'll be furious.
Look, Kelly, he'll probably be fit to be tied. But he's a man, isn't he?
I guess so. His name is Mr.
Then keep him here. You know, go into the old routine. The eyes, the swish, the looks. I've seen it. I'm, of course, immune, but I've seen it work on some of the patients out here. Keep him here, Kelly. If you have to do it, striptease.
Oh, well, of all the... Oh, you're wonderful, Dr. Sanderson. You're just about the most wonderful person I ever met in my life.
Yeah. How about give me a lift here, just the same?
What?
That's Simmons' dame.
Oh, did you catch her?
Oh, slick as a whistle. She was coming along the path, jumped out from behind a tree. I said, sister, there's a man who wants to see you. Should have heard her yell. She's wacky, all right.
Have her taken to number 13 Upper West Dock.
She's there now. Brought her in through the diet kitchen. She was kicking and screaming like a banshee. I'll hold her if you come and undress her.
Just a minute, Wilson. Dr. Sanderson wants me to wait for the brother.
Make it snappy.
Oh, you're Mr.
P.
Well, I'm Miss Kelly.
Well, let me give you one of my cards. If you should want to call me at this number. Don't call me at that one. That's the old one.
Well, thank you.
Well, never mind, my dear. And if you happen to lose it, well, that's just all right. I have plenty more.
Won't you have a chair, please, Mr. Dowd?
Why, thank you. I'll have 2. Allow me.
Dr. Sanderson is very anxious to speak to you. He'll be here in a moment. Please, be seated.
Oh, after you, Miss Kelly.
Oh, I can't really. I'm in and out all the time, but you mustn't mind me. Please, sit down.
After you.
Could I get you a magazine to look at?
Oh, I'd much rather look at you, Miss Kelly, if you don't mind. You are really very lovely.
Well, thank you. Some people don't seem to think so.
Well, some people are blind. That's often brought to my attention. And now, Miss Kelly, I would like to introduce you to one of my...
Mr. Dowd?
Elwood P. Let me give you one of my cards. You should want to call me. Call me at...
Mr. Dowd, I am Dr. Lyman Sanderson, Dr. Chumley's assistant out here.
Well, good for you. I'm happy to know that. How are you, Doctor?
Well, I'm afraid that's going to depend upon you. Won't you be seated? You've met Miss Kelly, Mr. Dowd?
Oh, yes, I've had that pleasure. And now I would like to both of you...
Later on, be glad to, Mr. Dowd. Please be seated, because first I would like to say
Well,
that...
after Miss Kelly.
Sit down. Is that chair quite comfortable, Mr. Dowd?
Oh, yes, quite. Would you like to try it?
No, thank you. Could we have an ashtray here? Could we please have an ashtray for Mr. Dowd?
Will you shut this door?
Is it too warm in here for you, Mr. Dowd? Would you like me to open a window?
Oh, Mr. Dowd, Dr. Sanderson wants to know if he should open a window.
Oh, well, that's entirely up to him. I wouldn't presume to live his life for him.
Now then, Mr. Dowd, I can see you're not the type of man to be taken in by high-flown phrases and beating around the bush.
Was that so, Doctor?
You have us at a disadvantage. You know it, we know it. Let's lay our cards on the table.
Well, that certainly appeals to me.
Best way in the long run. People are people no matter where you go.
That is quite often the fact.
And being human are therefore liable to mistakes. Miss Kelly and I have made a mistake here this afternoon, and we'd like to explain it to you.
It wasn't Dr. Sanderson's fault, Mr. Dowd. It was mine.
A human failing, as I said.
Oh, now this interests me nevertheless. You say you and Miss Kelly here? This afternoon, you say?
We do hope you'll understand, Mr. Dowd.
Oh, yes. Yes, these things are often the basis of a long and warm friendship.
And the responsibility is, of course, not hers, but mine.
Well, that seems a little old-fashioned, Doctor, but it's fine with me.
Now, if I had seen your sister first, that would have been an entirely different story.
Well, now there you surprise me, Doctor. I mean, I think the world and all of Vida, but I had supposed she had seen her day.
Oh, you must not attach any blame to her. She's a very sick woman. She came in here insisting that you were in need of treatment. Oh, that's perfectly ridiculous.
Oh, well, Vida shouldn't worry about me. I get along fine.
Exactly. But she had already spoken with Miss Kelly, and there'd been a call from your family lawyer, Judge Gaffney.
Oh, yes, I know him. I know his wife, too. They're fine people.
Could I get something for you, Mr. Dowd?
What do you have in mind?
A light. Let me give you a light. She was very nervous and plunged right away into a heated tirade about your drinking.
Oh, that was Vida.
She became hysterical.
Well, Vida shouldn't worry about that. I'll take care of that.
Exactly. Oh, I suppose you like a drink now and then, just the same as the rest of us.
Yes, I do. As a matter of fact, I would like one right now.
Matter of fact, so would I. But your sister's whole reaction to the matter of drinking was entirely too intense. Mr. Dowd, does your sister drink?
Oh, no. No, Doctor, I don't think that Vita has ever taken a drink.
I think I'm going to surprise you, Mr. Dowd. I think she has and does constantly.
I am certainly surprised.
But it's not going to be her alcoholism that's going to be the basis of my diagnosis. No, it's much more serious than that. It's when she began talking so emotionally about this great white rabbit, Harvey. I believe she called him Harvey.
Well, Harvey is his name.
She said that you were persecuting her with this Harvey.
Oh, well, I haven't been persecuting her with Harvey, Doctor. Avita shouldn't feel that way. Oh, and now, before we go any further, I must insist that you let me...
Mr. Dowd, let me make my point first. Your sister's condition did not spring up overnight. It stems from trauma.
From what?
Trauma. That's spelled T-R-A-U-M-A. It means shock. Oh, there's nothing unusual about it. There's the birth trauma. The shock to the act of being born.
Oh, that's the one we never quite get over, Doctor.
You have a nice sense of humor, Mr. Dowd. Hasn't he, Miss Kelly?
Oh, yes, Doctor.
And may I say the same about both of you?
To sum it all up, your sister's condition is serious, but I can help her. She must, however, remain out here temporarily.
Well, I have always wanted Vita to have everything she needs.
Exactly.
But I wouldn't want her to stay out here unless she liked it out here and wanted to stay out here.
Uh-huh. Miss Kelly, did Wilson get what he went after?
Oh, yes, Doctor.
Uh-huh. What was Mrs. Simmons's reaction?
Oh, not unusual, Doctor.
Uh-huh. Now, Mr. Dowd, if this were an ordinary delusion, something reflected on the memory picture. In other words, if your sister was seeing something that she had once seen, that would be one thing. But this is much more serious. It stands to reason no one has ever seen a great white rabbit 6 feet high.
Well, not very often, Doctor.
So she must be kept out here temporarily. Under these conditions, I would commit my own grandmother.
Does your grandmother drink, too?
It's just an expression. Mr. Dowd, now if you would sign these temporary commitment papers as next of kin, it's just a formality.
Oh, well, you better let Vita do that. Vita always does all the signing and managing in the household. She's good at it.
Well, we can't disturb her right now.
Well, maybe I had better talk that over with Judge Gaffney.
Well, you can explain that all to him later. Tell him I advised it. And it's not as if you can't come out and make inquiries. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll make you out a visitor's pass so that you can look around. When would you like to come back? Wednesday, say? Friday, say?
Well, you and Miss Kelly here have been so pleasant. I could come back right after dinner, say about an hour.
Well, we're pretty busy, but be glad to have you.
Well, I really don't have to go right now. I'm not very hungry.
Delighted to have you stay. But Miss Kelly and I will have to get on upstairs now. Lots of work to do. But I'll tell you what you might like to do.
What might I like to do?
We don't usually do this, but just so that you know in your mind that your sister is in good hands, why don't you take a look around? If you go up these stairs and turn right, down the hall you'll find the occupational therapy room, then the conservatory and the library, and at the end the diet kitchen.
Well, you know, for Vita's sake, I think I'd better do that, Doctor.
Very well, Dowd. And may I say, it's been a great pleasure to have this little chat with you, Mr. Dowd.
Oh, and I've enjoyed meeting you, too, and Miss Kelly here.
And you know, for a layman, I must say that you show an unusually acute perception into psychiatric problems.
Do you think so? Why? I never thought I knew anything about it. Nobody does, do you think?
Well, the good psychiatrist is not found under every bush.
Well, you've got to pick the right bush. Now, since we all seem to have enjoyed this so much, let's keep right on. Why, I would like to invite you to come with me now down to Charlie's place for a drink. Why, when I enjoy people, I like to stay right with them.
Well, we're on duty right now. Give us a rain check. Some other time, be glad to.
When?
Well, we don't go off duty till 10 o'clock at night.
Good. I'll pick you up out here at 10 o'clock tonight, and we'll all go down to Charlie's place.
Well,
Miss Kelly?
Oh,
Dr. Chumley, he doesn't approve of staff fraternizing. But you've been so reasonable, I suppose we could arrange it.
Good. I'll pick you up down here in a cab at 10 o'clock tonight, and the four of us will have a happy evening together. Why, I want both of you to become friends with a very dear friend of mine that you said later on, so later on it will be. Goodbye for now.
Phew, now I can breathe again.
That was a close shave, all right. But he seemed to be a reasonable enough man. That man is proud. What he has to be proud of, I don't know. But I played up to that pride. You can get to almost anybody if you want to. But now I better go look in on that Simmons woman.
Dr. Sanderson, you said you could get to anybody if you wanted to. How can you do that?
Take study, Kelly. Years of specialized training. You know, there's only one thing I don't like about this Dowd case.
Oh, what's that?
Having to make this date with him. Yes, he left here as a friend and a supporter of this institution, but... So I suppose I'll go have a drink with him, but you don't need to go.
Oh.
Well, there's no point to it. I'll go with him and have a drink and pat him on the back, and then I'll leave. I've got a date tonight anyway.
Oh, yes, by all means. I didn't intend to go anyway. The idea bored me stiff. Why, I wouldn't go if I never went anywhere again. I wouldn't go if my life depended on it.
Why are you getting so emotional, Kelly?
He may have been a peculiar man with funny clothes, but he knew how to act. His manners were perfect.
I saw you giving him that doll puss stare. I didn't miss that.
He wouldn't sit down till I sat down. He told me I was lovely and called me dear. Why, I could have a drink with him if you weren't going.
Sure you would. And look at him. All he does is hang around bars all day. He doesn't work. And all that corny bowing and getting up out of his chair every time a woman makes a move. Why, he's as outdated as a cast iron deer. But you'd sit in a bar with him and let him flatter you. Oh, Kelly, you're a wonderful girl.
Oh, now let me tell you something.
Dr. Sanderson, Miss Kelly.
Yes, doctor?
Tell the gardener to prune more carefully around my prize dahlias along the fence by the main road. They'll be ready for cutting next week. And, oh, this business of the woman with the large white rabbit, has it been smoothed over?
Yes, doctor. I spoke with her brother. He seemed to be quite reasonable.
Yes. Well, I've had many patients who have seen animals, but I've never had anyone that has had an animal quite that large.
Yes, doctor. She called him Harvey.
Harvey. Unusual name for an animal. Harvey is a man's name. Well, I've known several men with the name of Harvey. I've never heard of any animal whatsoever with that name. This case has an interesting face, Doctor.
Yes, doctor.
I will now go upstairs and look in on this woman with you. It may be that she can use our formula 977. I will be happy to give you my advice on the treatment of this case, Doctor.
Thank you, doctor.
And now, may I ask, what is this hat and coat doing here? Whose is it?
I don't know. Do you know, Miss Kelly? Was it Dowd's?
Oh, no, he had his hat on him when he left. Perhaps it belongs to a relative of one of the patients.
Here, let me see that hat. Maybe there's some identification. What's this? Huh, this hat has 2 large holes cut in the crown of it. See?
Strange.
Huh, must be some kind of fad. Get rid of it, hang it up, take it out here.
Hello, Dr. Chumley.
Oh, there you are, Wilson.
How is every little old thing?
Oh, fair, thank you, Wilson, fair.
Somebody's gonna have to give me a hand with this Simmons thing. Order a restraining jacket or something. She's terrible. Forgot me, didn't you? Well, I got her corset off all by myself.
I will go upstairs and look in on this woman, Wilson.
She's in a hydro tub now. I left the water running on her.
Willie, remember your promise. Oh, come on now, Miss Anderson. Willie, now you haven't forgotten Dr. McClure's cocktail party. We promised him faithfully.
That's right, but I have to go up and look in on a woman. patient right now. I'll be down shortly.
Well, just give a quick little diagnosis, Willie. We don't want to be late for the party. Just dying to see the inside of that house. Well, good evening.
Well, good evening.
I'm Mrs. Chumley, Dr. Chumley's wife.
Well, I'm happy to know that. Dowd's the name, Elwood P. Let me give you one of my cards. If you would like to call me at this number here. Don't call me at that one. That's the old one.
Oh, well, thank you. Is there something I can do for you?
What did you have in mind?
Well, you seem to be looking for someone.
Oh, yes. Yes, I am. I'm looking for Harvey. I left without him.
Oh, Harvey, is he a patient here?
Oh, no, nothing like that.
Does he work here?
No. Well, actually, he's what you might call my best friend. He's also a puka. Well, he came out here this afternoon with Vita and me.
Well, just where was he when you last saw him?
Well, he was sitting in that chair right there with his coat on the back and his hat on the table.
Well, there doesn't seem to be a hat or coat around here anywhere. Perhaps he left.
Apparently, I don't see him anywhere.
What was that word you just said? Puka.
That's right. That was it.
Is that something new?
No. As a matter of fact, I think it's something very old.
Oh, really? Just something I've never heard, I guess.
Well, that doesn't surprise me. I hadn't either until I met him. Oh, I do hope you get a chance to meet him, Mrs. Chumley. Why, he would be quite taken with you.
Oh, really? Oh, that's very nice of you to say so, I'm sure.
Not at all. If Harvey takes a liking to someone, he expresses himself quite definitely. If he's not particularly interested, he just sits there like an empty chair, an empty spot on the floor. He's takes his time making up his mind about people. You see, he's choosy.
Well, that's just not such a bad way to be in this day and age.
You know, Harvey is very fond of my sister Vita. Oh, that's because Harvey's very fond of me, and Vita and I come from the same family. Now, you'd think that feeling would be mutual, wouldn't you? But my sister Vita doesn't seem to care for Harvey. Now, don't you think that's just a little bit too bad, Mrs. Chumley?
Well, I don't know, Mr. Dowd. I mean, I gave up a long time ago expecting my family to like my friends. It's useless.
Oh, but we must keep on trying.
There's no harm in trying, I suppose.
Well, because if Harvey has told me once, he's told me a million times, Mr. Dowd, I would do anything for you. Mrs. Chumley,
Yes?
did you know that Mrs. Michelene's Aunt Rose was going to drop in on her tonight unexpectedly from Cleveland?
Well, no, I didn't.
She doesn't either. That puts you both in the same boat, doesn't it?
But I don't know any Mrs.
Oh, Mrs. Michelene. She lives next door to us. Oh, she's a wonderful woman. Harvey told me about her Aunt Rose. Now, that's a very interesting little news item, and you should feel free to pass it around if you like.
Well, bye.
Oh, would you like to come downtown with me, my dear? I'd like to buy you a drink.
Well, thank you very much, but I'm waiting on Dr. Chumley, and if he should come down here and find me gone, oh, he would be liable to raise hell. He'd get irritated.
Well, we wouldn't like that, would we? Maybe some other time, perhaps.
But I won't tell you what I will do, however.
What will you do, however? I'm interested.
Well, if your friend should come in while I'm still here, I'd be very glad to give him a message for you.
Well, would you do that for me? Why, I would certainly appreciate that.
Oh, that's no trouble whatsoever. I'll just write it on the back of this. Now, what would you like me to tell your friend if he should come in while I'm still here?
Well, ask him to join me downtown if he doesn't have any other plans.
Meet Mr. Dowd downtown. Any particular place somehow?
Oh, he knows where. Harvey knows this town like a book.
Harvey. You know where? Harvey what?
Oh, just Harvey.
I'll tell you what.
What?
The doctor and I will be driving downtown, and we're going to 12th in Monview. Dr. McClure is having a cocktail party there.
A cocktail party?
Yes.
Oh, at 12th and Monview, you say?
We'll be driving there in just a few minutes. Well, we could give your friend a lift into town.
Oh, I wouldn't want to impose upon you, but I certainly would appreciate that.
Oh, it's no trouble whatsoever. Dr. McClure's having this party for his sister from Wichita.
Well, I didn't know Dr. McClure had a sister in Wichita.
Oh, you know Dr. McClure?
No. Oh, are you sure you don't have time to come downtown and have a drink with me, my dear?
Well, not really, but thank you just the same.
Oh, some other time then, maybe?
Maybe.
I must be going now, but I've really enjoyed meeting you, and I hope I have the pleasure of meeting you again sometime.
Yes, so do I.
Goodbye, my dear. Oh, by the way, you can't miss Harvey. He's very tall, about like that.
That Simmons woman is very uncooperative, Doctor. She refused to admit to me that she has this big white rabbit. Insists it's her brother. Now, give her 2 of these at 9, another at 10 if she continues to be so restless. And then let's have her go to the hydro room again at 8 and again at 7 in the morning. Then we'll see if she won't cooperate tomorrow, won't we, Doctor?
Yes, Doctor.
Oh, and you know where to call me if you need me. Are you ready, Pet?
Oh, Willie, yes. Oh, and Willie?
Yes?
There was a man in here. A man named his card, Dowd. Elwood P. Dowd.
That's Mrs. Simmons' brother. I told him he could look around. I gave him full visiting privileges.
Oh, she mustn't have any visitors tonight. Not anyone at all. Tell him that.
Yes, Doctor.
Oh, well, he didn't ask to see her. He was looking for someone, some friend of his.
Who could that be, Dr. Sanderson?
I don't know, Doctor.
He said it was someone he came out here with this afternoon.
Was there anyone with him when you saw him, Miss Kelly?
Not when I saw him, Doctor.
Well, he said there was. He said the last time he saw his friend, he was sitting right there in that chair with his hat and coat.
Dr.
He seemed most disappointed.
Oh.
And I told him if we located his friend that we'd give him a lift into town. He could ride in the back seat. Is that all right, Willie?
Oh, of course, of course.
Okay. Wrote his name on the back of this card. His friend's name was Harvey.
Harvey?
Yeah, he didn't tell me his last name, but he did mention something else about him. Hookah. But I didn't get what that was.
Harvey?
Oh, and he said one other thing. He said he was very tall. Well, why are you looking at me like that? I mean, Willie, he was a nice, polite man, and he merely asked that we give his friend a lift into town. Now, if we can't do something nice for someone, then why are we living?
Where did he go? How long ago was he here, Mrs. Kelly?
Give me that hat! We're going to get to the bottom of this.
Front gate? Henry, Dr. Sanderson.
Gaffney, Judge Gaffney.
Henry, has a man in a tan suit just gone out to the gate? He has? He's gone?
Judge Gaffney, this is William Chumley, the psychiatrist. I'm just making a routine checkup on the spelling of a patient's name before we enter it in our records. Judge, you called out here earlier this afternoon about having a client of yours committed. How was that name spelled? With a W, not a U. Elwood P. Dowd. Thank you, Judge. Dr. Sanderson, your name is Sanderson?
Yes, Doctor.
Oh, you know that much, do you? You went to medical school. You studied and specialized in the study of psychiatry. You graduated. You went forth. Perhaps they neglected to tell you that a rabbit has large pointed ears and that a hat for a rabbit would have to be perforated to make room for those ears.
Doctor, Mr. Gallup seemed reasonable enough this afternoon.
Doctor, a psychiatrist's function is to know the difference between people who act reasonable and those who merely talk and act reasonably. Now, do you know what you have done to me? You don't answer me. I will tell you. You have allowed a psychopathic case to walk off these grounds and roam about with an overgrown rabbit. You have caused me, a psychiatrist, the humiliation of having to call, of all things, a lawyer to find out who came out here to be committed and who came out here to commit. Stay here, I want you, Wilson. And now, I am going to have to do something that I haven't had to do for 15 years. I am going to have to go out there and bring this patient, Elwood P. Dowd, back here. And when I bring him back here, your connection with this institution is ended as of that moment. Wilson, go get the car. Pat, call the McClures and tell them we can't make it. Miss Kelly, come upstairs and help me get that woman out of the tub.
I'm going to have to call the cook and tell her we're going to be home for dinner. She's going to be furious. Wilson?
Yes, ma'am.
What is a puka?
A what?
A puka?
You can search me, Mrs. Chumley.
I wonder if it might be in one of these encyclopedias. They have everything in here. I wonder if it's a lodge or what it is. Well, I really don't have time to stop and do this now. If the doctor comes down and finds me still here, oh, he is just going to raise hell!
Puka. P-O-O-K-A. From old Celtic mythology. A fairy spirit in animal form, often very large, appears here and there, now and then, to this one and that one at his own caprice. Very fond of rum pots, crack pots, and how are you, Mr. Wilson? How are you, Mr. Wilson? Well, who in the encyclopedia wants to know? Oh, to hell with it.
That's right. Take the stairs at the end of the hall. It takes you to the 3rd floor. Go on up. I'll be up with you in a minute.
Well, where is she?
Where's who? Whom are you talking to, Judge Gaffney? Oh, Judge, see?
I mean your mother. Where's Vita Louise?
Well, Judge, you know where she is. She took Uncle Elwood out to the sanitarium.
I know that, but why was I called at the club with a lot of hysteria? I couldn't even get what she was talking about. Carrying on, something fierce.
Mother carrying on? That's not like her.
I don't know, she was hysterical.
All she had to do was take Uncle Elwood out to the sanitarium and have him put in. Did you find it? I'll be right up. They found it.
Who found... What are you talking about?
Oh, well, when Mother went with Uncle Elwood, I went up to the real estate house. It's the house on the market. Guess what I found there?
I'm not a quiz kid.
Well, I found a man there who was looking for a house like this to cut into buffet apartments. Going through it now.
Now see here, Myrtle May, this house doesn't belong to you. It belongs to your Uncle Elwood.
Yes, but with Uncle Elwood locked up, Mother controls the property, doesn't she?
Where is your mother? Where's Vita Louise?
I told you, she's out at Chumley's rest. She went to tell them about Harvey and put Uncle Elwood in.
Why did she call me at the club in the middle of a game and scream at me to meet her about something important?
I don't know. I simply don't know. Do you know where the deed is to this place?
Yes, it's in my safe. Myrtle, I feel awfully bad about this having to lock Elwood up.
Oh, I don't. Now Mother and I can travel. We can go out to Pasadena.
I always liked that boy. He could have been anything, done anything, made a place for himself in this community.
All he did was get a big rabbit.
He had everything. Brains, personality, friends. Men liked him. Women liked him. I liked him.
Are you telling me that Uncle Elwood was once like other men, that women actually liked him, in that way?
Not since he started hanging out with this big rabbit. But they did once. Once that mailbox of your grandmother's was full of those little blue-scented envelopes for Elwood.
Oh, I can't believe it.
Of course, there was always something different about Elwood.
I don't doubt that.
Yes. He was always so calm about any sudden change of pace. I used to admire it. I should have been suspicious. Take your average man looking up and seeing a big white rabbit. He'd do something about it, but not Elwood. He took that calmly, too, and look where it got him.
You don't dream how far he's gone on about this rabbit.
Oh, yes, I do. I've had that rabbit in my office many's the time. I'm old, but I don't miss much. Get her some tea. Do you want some tea, Vita?
Tea, Mother. Help her with her coat, Judge.
Let Myrtle get her coat off. Get her coat off, Myrtle.
Leave me alone. Let me sit here. Let me get my breath.
Let her get her breath, Judge.
Oh my. Just let me sit here for a minute, and then let me get up to my room in my own bed where I can let go.
Mother, what happened?
Oh my, you got to soothe them. They put me in and they let Elwood out.
What's this?
Oh, Mother!
Just look at my head.
Mother, what did you say? What did you do? You must have done something.
I didn't do one thing. I just told them about Elwood and Harvey.
How could it happen to you? I don't understand it.
I just told him about Elwood, and then I went down to the cab to get his things. And as I was walking along the path, this awful man jumped out at me. He was a white slaver, I know it. He had on one of those white suits. That's how they advertise.
Oh, Mother! A man? What did he do?
What did he do? Oh, he took hold of me, and he took me in there, and he...
Go on, Vita Louise. Go on, girl.
Oh, poor Mother. Was he a young man?
Myrtle May, perhaps you better leave the room.
Now? I should say not. Go on, Mother.
What did he do, Vita?
Well, he took me upstairs, and he tore my clothes off.
Did you hear that, Judge?
By God, I'll sue them for this!
Oh.
And then he sat me down in a tub of water. I always thought that what you were showed on your face, but don't you believe it, Judge? Don't you believe it, Myrtle May? That man took hold of me like I was a a woman of the street. But I always said that if a man jumped out at me, I'd fight. Haven't I always said that?
That's what she's always said, Judge. That's what Mother's always told me to do.
And then he hustled me into that sanitarium and sat me down in that tub of water and started treating me like I was
Like a what, Mother?
a crazy woman. But he did that just for spite.
Well, I'll be damned.
Oh, you got to do something, Judge. Then those doctors came up and asked me a lot of questions, all about sex urges and all that filthy stuff. You should get that place cleaned up. You should get the authorities out there to clean it up. And don't you ever go out there, Murdoch. You hear me?
This stinks to high heaven, Vita. By God, it stinks.
You got to sue them.
I will, girl. By God, I will. If Chumley thinks that he can run an unsavory place like that on the outskirts of town, he'll be publicly chastised. By God, I'll run him out of the state!
Tell me, Judge, is that all those doctors do at places like that is think about sex?
I don't know.
If it is, they ought to be ashamed of themselves. It's all in their head anyway. Why, they ought to go take long walks in the fresh air. Why, Judge Gaffney walked everywhere for years, didn't you, Judge?
Now, let me take some more notes on this. You said these two doctors came up to talk to you, Dr. Chumley, and what was the other doctor's name?
Sanderson. Oh, but Judge, don't you pay any attention to anything he tells you. He's a liar. Close set eyes, they're always liars. Besides, I told him something in strictest confidence, and he blabbed it.
Oh, Mother, what did you tell him?
What difference does it make? Let's just forget it. I don't even want to talk about it. Can't trust anybody.
Anything you told this Dr. Sanderson, you can tell us, Vita Louise. This is your daughter, and I am your lawyer.
I know which is which. I just want to sue them, and I want to get to my own bed.
Now, Mother, the important thing is, where is Uncle Elwood?
I should have known better than to try to do anything about him. Something protects him. That awful hookah.
Now, Mother, answer me. Where is Uncle Elwood?
How should I know? They let him go. They're not interested in men at places like that. Don't act so naive, Myrtle. What's that noise?
I found a fire for the house. What? Well, now, Mother, no matter who jumps out at you, we've got to find Uncle Elwood and have him locked up.
Well, I don't know where he is. Wait till Elwood hears what they did to me. He won't stand for it. The next time, Judge, you take him. And don't forget to sue them. And Myrtle May, all I hope is that as long as you live, that never a man pulls the clothes off you and dumps you down in the tub of water.
Oh, Mother smocked everything. No matter who jumps out at her, Uncle Elwood's still wandering around with Harvey.
The thing for me to do is to take some more notes.
It's all Uncle Elwood's fault. He figured out what Mother was up to, and he had her put in, and then he ran.
No, don't talk like that. Your uncle thinks the world and all of your mother. Ever since he was a little boy, he always wanted to share everything he had with her.
I'm not giving up. I'll hire detectives, and I'm going to find him. Besides, you should save some of that sympathy for me and my mother. You don't know what we have to put up with. You just wait till I show you what he brought home about 6 months ago. We hid it out in the garage. You just wait
I'm
here.
going upstairs to talk to Vita. There's more in this than what she says. I can sense that.
No, you wait here. I'll go get it.
All right, I'll wait.
All right, is he here?
What's this?
That crackpot with the rabbit. Is he here?
No. And who, may I ask, are you?
Not here, Doctor. Okay. Dr. Chumley's coming in anyhow. What's your name?
Chumley. Well, I've got something to say to him.
Come on, let's have it. What's your name?
I am Judge Omar Gaffney. Where is Chumley?
The reason I ask your name is the doctor always likes to know who he's talking to. Doctor, this guy says his name is Judge Gaffney.
Well, Chumley.
Good evening, Judge. Let's not waste time. Has he been here?
Who? Elwood? No. But see here, Doctor.
You sure he ain't been here? He's wise. He's hiding now. It'll be an awful job to smoke him out.
It will be difficult, but I'll do it. They're sly, they're crafty, but I get them. I always get them. Wilson, do you have a list of the places that we've been?
Right here, Doctor.
Read it.
We've been to 17 bars. We've been to Eddie's place, Charlie's place, Bessie's barn dance, the 4th Avenue Firehouse, the 9th, 10th, and 12th Avenue Firehouses, just to be sure, the Union Station, the grain elevator. Say, why does this guy go down to the grain elevator?
The foreman is a friend of his. He has many friends, many places.
We came out here to ask Mrs. Simmons if she may have some idea where else we should look for her.
Dr. Chumley, I must inform you that Mrs. Simmons has retained me here in order to file suit against
What?
you for what happened at the sanitarium this afternoon.
suit?
And while we're on that subject...
That's pretty, ain't it, Doctor? Just dragging your tail all over town trying to find that guy.
What happened this afternoon is a very unfortunate mistake, and I have discharged my assistant who made that mistake. I have personally decided to take charge of this case. It interests me, and my interest in a case is something no amount of money can buy. You can ask any of them.
But this business this afternoon, Doctor...
All water under a dam. The way I see this thing, I see it this way, that the important thing now is to get this man and bring him back out to the sanitarium where he belongs.
That's right, Judge. That's what I think.
Dr. Chumley, permit me to introduce Miss Myrtle May Simmons. This is Mr. Dowd's niece and Mrs. Simmons' daughter.
How do you do, Dr. Chumley?
How do you do, Miss Simmons?
Hello, Myrtle.
And now, if you will tell me where Mrs. Simmons is.
Oh, no, Mother won't come down. I'm sure of it. You try and talk to her, Judge.
But see here, your mother was manhandled. She was... God knows what she was. The man's approach to her was not professional. It was personal.
Wilson, this is a very serious charge.
Dr. Chumley, I've been with you for over 10 years. Who are you going to believe? Me or, what's your name again?
Gaffney, Judge Omar Gaffney.
Thanks. Me or this old blister Gaffney?
Wilson!
Me and a dame who sees a rabbit?
Not Mrs. Simmons who sees the rabbit. It's her brother.
That's right, it's Uncle Elwood.
Doctor, if you would come with me, please.
Oh, very well, Judge. Wilson, what we have here is a situation. Wait for me.
So, your name's Myrtle May. You find your uncle. You're liable to be coming out to the sanitarium on visiting days.
I don't think so.
You do? I'll be there.
Well,
Sure. You don't see me right away. Don't give up. Stick around. I'll show up.
you will, huh?
You heard the doctor tell me to wait.
Yeah?
Tell you what, Myrtle. I sure could use a sandwich and a cup of coffee while I'm waiting.
Certainly, if you'd excuse me.
Yes, sir. You're all right, Myrtle.
Yeah?
Doctor noticed it right away. He don't miss a trick.
Yeah?
Tell you something else, Myrtle.
What?
You not only got a nice build, kid, but you got something else, too. You got the screwiest uncle who ever stuck his pussy.
Hello, Chumley's Rest. Is Dr. Chumley there? Oh, it's Mrs. Chumley. Why, this is Elwood P. Dowd speaking. How are you this evening, dear? Tell me, Mrs. Chumley, were you able to locate Harvey? Oh, well, don't worry about it. I'll find him. I'm sorry I missed you at the McClure cocktail party. Why, the people were all very charming, and I was able to leave quite a few of my cards. Well, I waited until you phoned and said you couldn't come because a patient had escaped. What's that? Where am I? Well, I'm here, but I'm leaving right away. I must find Harvey. Well, goodbye, Mrs. Chumley. My regards to you and to anybody else you happen to run into. Bye, my dear.
Over your mantle.
Oh, that portrait is the pride of this house.
Who painted it?
Oh, some man. I forget his name. He was around for the sittings, and then we paid him, and then he left. Yeah. Oh, no, this is Dexter 1567.
Well, I suppose if you have the money to pay people, you can persuade them to do anything.
Well, Dr. Chumley, what did I say to you when you helped me out of the tub out at your place?
You said something, I don't remember the words.
I said, Dr. Chumley, this is a belated civility. Isn't that what I said?
Or something of the sort.
Well, since you brought it up, you might as well learn something quick. I took a course in art this last winter, and the difference between a fine oil painting and a mechanical thing like a photograph is simply this, that in a photograph you see only the reality, but in a painting you see not only the reality, but you see the dream behind it. And it's our dreams that keep us going, that separate us from the beast. Why, I wouldn't even want to go on living if I thought it was all just eating and sleeping and taking my clothes off, and putting them on and, Doctor!
Steady, girl. There, take it easy now. What's the matter?
That is not my mother.
I'm certainly glad to hear that.
Oh, Elwood's been here, Doctor. He's been here.
There now, be quiet. Just be quiet. I'll get it. Hello? Yes? Yes? Who's calling? Here he is, Mrs. Simmons, it's your brother.
Oh, let me talk to him.
Don't tell him I'm here. Be casual.
Hello, Elwood. Yes, dear. Where are you? What? Oh, well, just a minute. He wants to know if Harvey's here.
Tell him Harvey is here.
But he isn't.
Tell him he's here, and that way he'll come over here perhaps. Humor him. We've got to humor them.
Hello, Elwood. Yes, dear. Harvey is here. Yes. Why don't you come home? Well, just a minute. It won't work, Doctor. He wants to speak to Harvey on the telephone.
Say Harvey is here, but he can't come to the telephone. Say he's in the bathtub.
The bathtub?
Yes. Say he's in the bathtub, and we'll send him over there, and that way we'll find out where he is.
Oh, Doctor.
Now, Mrs. Simmons, you've got to do this.
Hello, Elwood. Yes, dear. Harvey is here, but he can't come to the telephone right now. He's in the bathtub, but I'll send him over just as soon as he's dry. Where are you, Elwood? Where? Elwood? Oh,
He hung up?
Harvey just walked in the door. Said I should look in the bathtub. It must be a stranger. But I know where he is, Doctor. He's at Charlie's place. That's a bar over at 12th and Main.
12th and Main. Now, let's see, that's 2 blocks down and 1 block over.
Where are you going, Doctor?
I'm going over there to this man and take him back out to the sanitarium where he belongs.
Oh, don't do that, Doctor. Send one of your attendants. I'm warning you.
But, Miss Simmons, if I'm to help your brother...
Oh, Doctor, there isn't any help for him. He can't be helped. He just needs to be picked up and locked up and left.
Is your brother a dangerous man?
Dangerous?
Why?
I won't tell you why, but why would I be wanting a permanent commitment for him?
Then I must see this man for myself. I must look at his face as he talks to this rabbit. He does talk to the rabbit, you say.
Oh, they tell each other everything.
What's that?
I said, of course he talks to him. But don't go after him, Doctor. You'll regret it if you do.
Oh, nonsense, Mrs. Simmons. You underestimate me.
No, Doctor. You underestimate my brother.
No, now don't worry. I can handle him.
Oh, you can handle him. That's what you think. Oh. Oh! Myrtle May, we'll see who's in the bathtub!
Thank you. I may call later.
How about that stuff upstairs, Doc? In your room.
It's all packed. Thanks, Wilson.
Mighty sorry you got brushed, Doctor. I had you pegged, wanted to make the grade.
Those are the breaks.
When you taking off?
As soon as Dr. Chumley gets back from town.
Did you hear from the desk sergeant at the police accident bureau yet?
I just talked to the downtown dispensary. They haven't seen him.
Beginning to smell awful fishy to me. 4 hours he's been gone, and not a word from him. Doc, in case I don't see you again, I just want to say I'm mighty sorry you got a kick in the afray.
Well, thanks, Wilson. Best of luck to you, too.
If you hear from the doctor, or the desk sergeant about the doctor again, let me know right away. If he don't show up soon, I'm going into town to look for him. He should know better than to go after a psycho without me.
Wilson, I'd like to go with you when you go look for the doctor.
Well, that's mighty swell of you, Doctor. Right after he gave you the brush.
Well, I have no resentment against Dr. Chumley. He was right, I was wrong. He's the biggest man in his field, and it's my loss not to be able to work with him.
You're not so smart yourself, Doc.
Thanks, Wilson.
Don't mention it.
Dr. Sanderson?
Yes.
Well, Doctor, I'd like to say that I wish you a lot of luck too, and that I'm sorry to see you leave.
Are you sure you can spare these good wishes, Miss Kelly?
On second thought, I guess I can't. Forget it.
Miss Kelly, this is for nothing, just a little advice. I'd be a little bit careful of the kind of company I kept if I were you.
I beg your pardon.
You don't have to. I told you it was free. I saw you Saturday night dancing with that drip in the Rose Room down at the Frontier Hotel.
Oh, did you? I didn't notice you.
I'd be a little careful of him if I were you, Kelly. He looked to me like a schizophrenic, clear across the floor.
You really shouldn't have given him a thought, Doctor. He was my date, not yours.
That was only his mentality. As for the rest of him, well...
But she was beautiful, though.
Who?
Oh, that girl you were with.
I thought you didn't notice.
You bumped into us twice. How could I help it?
Not that it makes any difference to you, but that girl is a charming little lady. She has a sweet, kind disposition, and she knows how to conduct herself.
Funny she couldn't rate a better date on a Saturday night.
And she has an excellent mind.
Why doesn't she use it?
Oh, I suppose you're not to be censored for that flippant, hard shell you have. You're probably compensating for something.
I am not. And don't you use any of your psychiatry on me.
Oh, if I could only use something else just once, just to see if you'd melt under any circumstances. I doubt it.
You'll never know, Doctor.
That's because you interest me as a case history, and that's all. I'd like to know where you get that inflated ego.
Well, if you aren't the meanest person, case history, inflated ego?
Don't run away. Come back here. Let's finish
Oh,
this.
leave me alone.
Oh, gladly.
Chumley's rest. Oh, yes, Sergeant. No accident report on him either in town or the suburbs. Look, Sergeant, maybe we'd just better go... Oh, never mind. They're here now. Mr. Dowd.
Oh, these are for you, my dear.
Why, thank you. They're lovely.
Oh, they're quite fresh, too. I just picked them outside.
I hope Dr. Chumley didn't see you. They're his prized dahlias. Did he go upstairs?
Well, not knowing, I cannot state. Oh, those colors look lovely against your hair, my dear.
I've never worn burnt orange. It's such a trying color.
Oh, you would improve any color, my dear.
Thank you. Did Dr. Chumley go over to his house?
Well, I don't know. Where's Dr. Sanderson?
In his office there, I think.
Thank you.
Oh, Mr. Dowd, there you are.
I have a cab outside if you and Miss Kelly can get away now.
Where's Dr. Chumley?
Oh, is he coming along, too? That's nice.
I don't know, Doctor.
Oh, I'm sorry I'm a few seconds late, but I thought Miss Kelly should have some flowers. After what happened out here this afternoon, the flowers really should be from you, Doctor. Why, as you grow older and pretty women pass you by, you'll look back with deep gratitude on these generous girls of your youth. Shall we go now?
Oh, just a minute, Dowd. Things have changed since you were out here this afternoon and we met. I urge you to have no resentment against Dr. Chumley. He's your friend. He only wants to help you.
Oh, well, that's very nice of him, and I'd like to help him, too.
And if you'll begin by taking a cooperative attitude, that's half the battle. We all have to face reality, Dowd, sooner or later.
Oh, Doctor, I wrestled with reality for 40 years, and I'm happy to state I finally won out over it. Shall we go down to Charlie's place now and have a drink?
There you are. Okay, buddy, come on. Upstairs. We're going upstairs.
Is the doctor okay? Well, there must be some mistake. Miss Kelly and Dr. Sanderson and I are going downtown for a drink. But I'd be glad to have you go along with us, Mr.
Wilson.
Mr. Wilson. They have a wonderful floor show.
Yeah, Wait till you see the floor show we've got. Come on, upstairs.
Just a minute, Wilson. Mr. Dowd, where did Dr. Chumley go?
As I stated, he did not confide his plans with me.
You mean the doctor ain't back yet?
Not yet.
Well, where is he?
That's what we're trying to find out.
Mr. Dowd walked in here all by himself.
Oh, he did he? Listen, buddy, talk fast, or I'm working you over.
Oh, I wish you didn't do that. And I'd rather you wouldn't even mention that in the presence of a lovely young lady like Miss Kelly.
Mr. Dowd, Dr. Chumley went into town to pick you up. That was 4 hours ago.
My, where does the time go to?
Listen to that. Smart, huh?
Just a minute, Wilson. Mr. Dowd, did you see Dr. Chumley tonight?
Why, yes, I did. Well, he came into Charlie's place at dinner time. Oh, it's a cozy little spot. Let's all go down there and talk it over with the tall one.
We're going nowhere. Now, I'm going to ask you some questions, and I want you to button up your lip and give me some straight answers.
Well, what you ask is quite impossible.
What's that?
Why, you asked me to button my lip and give you some straight answers? It can't be done.
Let me handle this, Wilson.
Well, handle it then. But find out where the doctor is.
Mr. Dowd, you say Dr. Chumley came into Charlie's place.
Why, yes, he did, and I was glad to see him.
Go on.
Well, he asked for me, naturally, and the proprietor brought him over and left him, and we exchanged the conventional greetings. I said, how do you do, Dr. Chumley? And he said, how do you do, Mr. Dowd? And I think we said that at least once.
Okay.
Well, I'm just trying to be factual. And then I introduced him to Harvey.
To who?
A white rabbit, 6 feet tall.
6 feet?
6 feet 1.5.
Okay, fool around with it. The doctor's probably someplace lying in a ditch, bleeding to death.
Well, if those were his plans for the evening, he did not tell me.
Go on, Dowd.
Well, Dr. Chumley sat down at the booth with us, and I was sitting on the outside like this, and Harvey was sitting on the inside near the wall, and Dr. Chumley sat down directly across from Harvey where he could look at him.
That's it. Spend all night on the seating arrangements.
Well, then, Harvey suggested that I buy him a drink, and knowing that Harvey doesn't like to drink alone, I suggested to Dr. Chumley that we join him.
And then?
We joined him.
Well, go on.
We joined him again.
Then what?
Well, we kept right on joining him.
Skip all the joining.
Well, you're asking me to skip a very large portion of the evening.
Come on, Mr. Dowd. Tell us what happened, please.
Well, Dr. Chumley and Harvey got into a discussion, quietly at first, and then later on it became rather heated, and Dr. Chumley raised his voice.
Yeah, what?
Well, Harvey seemed to feel that Dr. Chumley should assume part of the financial responsibility of the joining, but Dr. Chumley didn't seem to want to do that.
I can believe that part of it.
Let him talk. See what he says. This guy's got guts.
Well, I agreed to take it all because I didn't want any trouble. Well, we go down to Charlie's quite often, Harvey and I. Well, it's a lovely spot, and the proprietor's a fine man with an interesting approach to life. And then the other matter came up.
Cut all the damn double talk and get on with this.
Mr. Wilson, you're a sincere type of person, but I must ask you not to use that kind of language in front of Miss Kelly here.
You're right, Dowd, and we're sorry. Now, you say the other matter came up?
Oh, yes. Well, there was this beautiful blonde woman, Miss Smithhills, I think, and her escort seated in the booth across from us. And Dr. Chumley got up and went over to sit next to her, explaining that they had met before, in Chicago, I believe. And then Mrs. Smithhill's escort escorted Dr. Chumley back over to Harvey and me and tried to explain or to point out to Dr. Chumley that it would be better for him to mind his own affairs. Tell me, does he have any?
Does he have any what?
Does he have any affairs?
Well, how would I know?
Hurry, Mr. Dowd. We're all so worried.
Well, then Dr. Chumley tried to convince Harvey to go with him over to Blondie's Chicken Inn. But Harvey wanted to go to Eddie's instead, and so while they were arguing, I went back to the bar to order another drink, and when I came back, they were gone.
Where did they go? I mean, where did the doctor go?
Oh, I don't know. I had an appointment out here with Miss Kelly and Dr. Sanderson, and so I came out to pick them up, hoping that later on we might run into Harvey and the doctor and just make a party of it.
Okay, you got his story. You satisfied? Listen, buddy, you're lying, and we know it.
Oh, Mr. Wilson, I never lie.
You done something with the doctor, and I'm finding out what it is.
Leave him alone, Wilson.
Maybe he isn't lying, Wilson.
That's all this guy is a bunch of lies. You don't believe this story he tells about the doctor sitting in some bar in front of a 6-foot rabbit, do you?
Well, maybe Dr. Chumley did go to Charlie's place.
It's all Big Rabbit, I suppose?
And why not? Harvey was there. Why, at first, Dr. Chumley was a little frightened of Harvey, but that gave way to admiration as the evening wore on. The evening wore on. Now, that's a nice expression. With your permission, I'll say that again. The evening wore on.
With your permission, I'm going to knock your teeth down your throat.
Don't you have some old friends you can run outside and play with, Mr. Wilson?
The nerve of this guy. He couldn't come in here with an ordinary case of DT. He has to have a 6-foot rabbit.
Well, stimulating as all of this has been, I must be getting downtown.
Is there a Dr. Chumley anywhere around there? He was in with a Mr. Dowd earlier this evening. What? Well, don't bite my head off. My, that man was mad. He said Mr. Dowd was welcome anytime, but his friend was not.
Oh, that's Mr. McNulty, the bartender. Why, he thinks the world of me. Let's all go down to Charlie's now and have a drink.
Wait a minute.
Mr. Dowd?
Yes, my dear. Oh, may I hold your hand?
Well, yes, if you want to. Mrs. Chumley is so worried. Something must have happened to the doctor. Couldn't you try and remember something that might help her? Please?
Why? Well, I'd do anything for you, Miss Kelly. Well, I'd almost be willing to live my whole life over again, almost. But I said it all.
Well, sure.
Yeah, I'm quite sure, but ask me again, won't you, please? I like that warm tone you had in your voice just then.
So did I.
Oh, nuts! What? Nuts! I must be getting downtown.
Now,
What?
what is it you do?
Oh. Well, Harvey and I, we like to go down to bars, and we sit in the bars, and we have a drink or two, and listen to the jukebox. Oh, thank you. And after a while, the faces of the other people, they turn to mine, and they seem to say, right, we don't know your name, mister, but you're a lovely fellow. And Harvey and I, we just warm ourselves in these golden moments. Yes, we've entered as strangers, and soon we have friends. And they come over and they sit with us, and they drink with us, and talk with us, and they tell us about all the big, terrible things they've done, and all the big, wonderful things they're going to do, and their hopes and despairs, and their loves and their hates, all very large, because no one ever brings anything small into a bar. And then I introduce them to Harvey, and he's so much bigger and grander than anything they offer me. Well, when they leave impressed. Same people very seldom come back, though. That's envy, my dear. You know, there's a little bit of envy in the best of it. That's too bad, isn't it?
Mr. Dowd, how did you happen to call him Harvey?
Well, Harvey is his name, Doctor.
How do you know that?
Well, you know, that's an interesting coincidence, Doctor. A couple of years ago, I happened to be walking in the early evening down Fairfax Street between 18th and 19th. Are you familiar with that?
Yes.
Well, I have just helped Ed Hickey into a taxi. Now, Ed had been mixing his rye with his gin, and I felt that he needed conveying. Well, I turned and started to walk away, and all of a sudden, I this voice say, "Good evening, Mr. Dowd." And I looked up, and there was this great white rabbit leaning against the lamppost. Well, I didn't think anything about it, because if you've lived in a town as long as I've lived in this one, you get to realize that everybody knows your name. So I went over and started to chat with him, and he said to me, "Ed Hickey was a bit stiff tonight, or could I be mistaken?" Well, I think the world all of Ed, but he was definitely stiff. So we went on and talked for a while and chatted, and finally I said, "You have the advantage of me. You know my name, but I don't know yours." And right back he said, "What name do you like?" Well, I didn't have to think a minute, because Harvey's always been my favorite name, so I said, "Harvey." And you know, here's the interesting point. He said, "Isn't that a coincidence? My name happens to be Harvey."
Mr. Dowd, what was your father's name?
John Harvey.
When you were a child, you had a playmate, someone you were very fond of, with whom you spent many happy, carefree hours.
Yes, didn't you, Doctor?
What was his name?
Vern McElhenney. Did you know the Michelini's, Doctor?
No.
Why, there were a lot of them, and they circulated. Wonderful people.
Mr. Dowd, think very carefully. Wasn't there someone, somewhere, sometime whom you knew by the name of Harvey? Haven't you ever known anyone by that name?
No, Doctor, I don't think so. Maybe that's why I always had such hopes for it.
Come on, Wilson, let's take Dowd upstairs now.
I'm taking it nowhere. You made this your show, so you run it. You let him sit here, forgetting all about the doctor. Okay, it's your show, you run it.
Come on, Dowd. Come on, Elwood.
Why? Of course, Lyman. Oh, but I can't stay and visit for very long, because I promised Harvey that I would take him to the floor show. Oh, boy.
Are you all right?
All right, of course I'm all right. I'm being followed. Lock the door.
Who's following you, Doctor?
None of your business.
Dr. Chumley, how did you get out there? Well, I just saw you going over there.
I climbed out through my window. Don't leave me.
No, Doctor.
I want that man Dowd out of here right now.
Yes, Doctor.
Don't leave me.
But you said,
Dumpy on the phone.
yes, Doctor. Dumpy, give that guy Dowd his clothes and get him down here right away. Don't leave me. Just a minute. Judge Gaffney.
I want to see Dr. Chumley.
Hi, you Myrtle.
Chumley, we've got to talk to you. This is very serious.
It certainly is.
serious.
More serious than you suspect. Where may we go to talk?
Out of there!
The doctor don't want you in his office.
No, sir.
Then sit down, Dr. Chumley. Sit down, Myrtle May.
Sit down, Dr. Chumley. Sit down, Myrtle May. Wilson, don't go. Don't leave.
Now then, Chumley, here are my notes, the facts. Can everyone hear me?
Yeah, we can all hear you. Is that good?
Now then, Chumley, has it ever occurred to you that perhaps there might be something like this rabbit, Harvey?
Certainly not. And anyone who thinks so is crazy. Look at me like that. There's nothing wrong with me. I take after my father's family. They're all dead.
Now then, my client, the plaintiff, Mrs. Vita Louise Simmons, under oath, swears that on the morning of November 2nd, while standing in the kitchen of her home and hearing her name called, she turned and saw this great white rabbit, Harvey. He was staring at her. Resenting the intrusion, the plaintiff made certain remarks and drove the creature from the room. He went.
What'd she say to him?
She was emphatic. The remarks are not important.
No. I want to know what she said to get this creature out of her sanitarium. I mean her house.
I hate to have you tell a judge it isn't a bit like Mother.
Come on, quit stalling. Let's have it.
She looked him straight in the eye and exclaimed in the heat of anger, "To hell with you!"
To hell with you!
He left? Yes, he left. But that is not important. The point is it perjury or is it something we can cope with? I ask for your opinion.
Dr. Sanderson, disregard what I said earlier this afternoon. I want you on my staff. You are a very astute young man.
Doctor, you must keep Uncle Elwood out here.
No, I want my sanitarium the way it was before he came out here this afternoon.
Well, I can understand that.
You do?
Oh, yes, certainly. It gets on anyone's nerves the way Uncle Elwood knows what's going to happen before it happens. Take this morning, for instance. He said the McElhaney, Aunt Rose, was going to drop in unexpectedly from Cleveland.
Did she?
Did she what?
Aunt Rose. Did she drop in like Harvey said she would?
Oh, yes, and those things always happen the way Uncle Elwood says they would. But what of it? Who cares of the McElhaneys?
Does this sort of thing happen often?
Yes, and isn't it silly? He says Harvey tells him everything. Harvey knows everything. How could he when there is no such thing as Harvey?
Fly specks. I've been living among fly specks. While miracles have been leaning on lampposts at 18th and Fairfax.
Nobody here but people.
Now, Mother, you promised you wouldn't come down here.
Well, good evening. Now, Myrtle May, I just brought your Uncle Elwood's bathrobe. Well, why are you all just standing here? I thought you'd be committing him.
Sit down here, girl.
I won't sit there.
Say, Myrtle, how about you and me stepping out Saturday night?
Certainly not, Myrtle May. You don't.
I'm sorry.
Is it settled?
It will be.
Doctor, may I give an opinion?
Yes. By all means, please do.
That's the doctor I was telling you about, the eyes.
It is my opinion that Elwood P. Dowd is suffering from third-degree hallucinations, and the other party involved is a victim of autosuggestion. I recommend shock formula number 977 for him and a bed rest at home for...
You do?
Yes, doctor, that's my diagnosis. After this injection, your brother will not see the rabbit anymore. We use it in hundreds of psychopathic cases.
Don't you call my brother a psychopathic case. Why, there's never been anything like that in our family.
Mother, if you didn't think Uncle Elwood was psychopathic, why'd you bring him out here?
Well, where else could I take him? I couldn't take him to jail, could I? And besides, this is not your Uncle Elwood's fault. Why did that Harvey have to speak to him in the first place? With a whole town full of people, why did he have to bother Elwood?
Stop putting your oar in. Keep your oar out. If this shock formula brings people to reality, then give it to them. That's where we want Elwood.
It may be that the injection won't work in this case, Doctor. It always has.
Oh, Harvey always follows Elwood home.
He does?
Yeah, and if you give Elwood the formula and Elwood doesn't see Harvey, he won't let him in. Then when he comes to the door, I'll deal with him.
Mother, would you quit talking about Harvey as if there were such a thing?
Oh, Myrtle May, you got a lot to learn, and I hope you never learn it.
Here he is.
Why, good evening, everybody.
Good evening, Elwood. I brought you your bathroom.
Why, thank you, Vita.
Well, Chumley, what do? We've got to do something.
Yes.
I should say so.
It is imperative.
Well, while you're all making up your mind, why don't we go down to Charlie's and have a drink?
Oh, no, Elwood, you're not going anywhere. You're going to stay here.
That's right, Uncle Elwood.
You stay here, son.
What? I plan to leave, and you want me to stay. Why, an element of conflict in any discussion is good. It means everybody's taking part and nobody's being left out. I like that. By the way, Doctor, how'd you get along with Harvey?
Doctor, we're waiting for your answer.
What?
What is your decision?
I must be alone with this man. Will everybody step in there, please? I will have my diagnosis shortly.
Oh, do hurry, Doctor.
I will.
Elwood, you stay here.
Mr. Dowd, let me give you this chair. Thank you. Let me give you this cigar. Is there anything else I can get you?
What do you have in mind?
Mr. Dowd, what kind of man are you? Where do you come from?
Oh, well, didn't I give you one of my cards?
And where on the face of this tired old earth did you ever find a creature like him?
Harvey, the puka?
Is it true he has a function that he...
That he gets advance notice? I'm happy to say it is. Harvey is versatile. Harvey can stop clocks.
What?
Why, you've heard that old expression, his face could stop a clock?
Yes, but why? For what purpose?
Well, Harvey says that he can look at your clock and stop it, and you can go away for as long as you like, with whomever you like, and you can go as far away as you like, and when you get back, not 1 minute will have ticked by.
You mean he can actually...
Why, Einstein's overcome time and space. Harvey's overcome not only time and space, but any objections as well.
Does he do this thing for you?
Oh, he's willing to at any time, but, I've never been able to figure out any place I'd rather be. I always have a wonderful time wherever I am, whomever I'm with. Why, I'm having a fine time right here with you, Doctor. Corona.
I know where I'd like to go.
Where?
Akron.
Akron?
Yes, there's a cool cottage just outside of Akron in a grove of maple trees, cool and green and beautiful.
My favorite tree.
And I'd go there with a pretty young woman, a strange woman, a quiet woman.
Under a tree?
And I wouldn't want to know her name, and I'd be just Mr. Brown.
Well, why wouldn't you want to know her name? You might be acquainted with the same people.
And I'd send out for cold beer, and I'd talk to her, and I'd tell her things that I'd never told anyone, things that I've kept locked up here. And then I'd send out for more cold beer.
No whiskey?
Beer is better.
Maybe under a tree, but she might like a highball.
And I wouldn't let her talk to me. And as I talked, I'd want her to reach out a soft, white hand and stroke my head and say, "Poor thing. Oh, you poor, poor thing."
How long would you want this to go on?
2 weeks.
Don't you think that would get rather monotonous? I mean, just Akron and cold beer and poor thing for 2 weeks?
No, it would not. It would be wonderful.
Well, I can't help but think you're making a mistake in not allowing this woman to talk. Well, if she gets around and circulates it all, she may have picked up some interesting news items. And I definitely think you're making a mistake with all that beer and no whiskey, but it's your 2 weeks.
Cold beer at Akron. And one last fling. Oh, God, ma'am.
Do you think you'd like to lie down for a while?
No. Tell me, Mr. Dowd, would he do this for me?
Oh, he could. And he might. Why, I have never heard Harvey say one word against Akron. By the way, Doctor, where is Harvey?
You mean you don't know?
Well, the last time I saw him, he was with you. He's probably waiting for me down at Charlie's.
Yes, that's it. He's down at Charlie's.
Well, excuse me a moment, Doctor. Oh,
No, don't go in there.
oh, but I couldn't leave without saying goodbye to my good friend, Dr. Sanderson.
Mr. Dowd, Dr. Sanderson is not your friend. None of those people are your friends. I am your friend.
Oh, well, thank you, and I'm your friend, too.
And this sister of yours, she's behind this conspiracy against you. Why, she tried to get me to lock you up. Today, she had the commitment papers drawn up, and she got your power of attorney, and she got the key to your safety deposit box, and she brought you out here.
My sister Vita did all that? My, Vita certainly is a whirlwind.
Good Lord, man. Have you no righteous indignation?
Well, Dr. Chumley, my mother always used to say to me, she'd say, in this world, Elwood, or she always used to call me Elwood, she'd say, in this world, Elwood, you've got to be oh so smart or oh so pleasant. Why, for years I was smart. I recommend pleasant. You may quote me.
Yes, but just the same, I'm going to protect you against this woman. Would you like me to lock your sister up?
Oh, no, Doctor, I don't believe so, unless she would like that. You know, it's not that you don't have a nice place out here or all that, but I think Vita would be much happier living at home with me and Harvey and Myrtle May. Oh, Miss Kelly, diviner grace never brightened this enchanting face. That's Ovid's elegy. You will never look lovelier, my dear.
Oh, and I'll never feel happier, Mr. Dowd. I know it.
Well,
Yes, Doctor.
Well, I wonder if I can remember any more lines to that poem.
Maybe this rabbit gag is a good one. Kelly never kissed me.
Oh, Ovid's always been my favorite poet.
Okay, buddy, you're discharged. This way out.
Wilson, take your hands off of him.
What?
Apologize to Mr. Dowd.
Apologize to him? The guy with the rabbit?
Apologize.
I apologize. This is the door.
If I leave, I'll remember.
Now, Mr. Dowd, don't leave. Do women come up to you often and kiss you the way Miss Kelly just did?
Oh, every now and then, and I encourage it.
Yes?
Yes.
To hell with decency. I gotta have that rabbit. Go ahead and knock.
Oh, Dr. Sanderson, I couldn't leave without...
Just a moment, Mr. Dowd. Doctor, do you agree with my diagnosis?
Yes. Have them all come in here.
Thank you, Doctor. Mrs. Simmons, Judge Gaffney, will you step in here for a moment, please?
Oh, is it settled?
Yes. Yes, I find I concur with Dr. Sanderson here.
Thank you, Doctor.
Oh, that's wonderful. What a relief.
Good boy. Let's celebrate. I happen to have some new bars written down in the back of this book.
It may be that this injection causes a violent reaction, and we'll need his permission to give it to him. Will he give it?
Oh, of course he will if I ask him.
And give up this rabbit? I doubt it.
Oh, don't ask him. Just give it to him.
Oh, here's Bessie's Barn Dance and Blondie's Chicken Inn. Better late than never? No. Oh, Benny's drive-in.
Oh, Elwood.
Let's all go down to Benny's drive-in. We'd better phone ahead for a table. How many of us will there be, Vida?
Oh, Elwood.
Mr. Dowd, I have this injection, formula 977. It will be good for you. Will you take it?
Elwood, you won't see this rabbit anymore.
But you will see your responsibilities, your duties.
Well, if you thought of it, Doctor, it must be a fine thing. And if I happen to run into anybody who needs it, well, I'd be only too happy to recommend it. But as for myself, I wouldn't care for it.
Oh, see, Judge, you hear that? Doctor, that's what we have to put up with.
Vida, do you want me to take this?
Well, Elwood, I'm only thinking of you. Why, you're my brother, and I've known you for years, and I'd do anything for you. And that Harvey wouldn't do anything for you. Why, he'd just make a fool out of you. Don't be a fool, Elwood.
Well, I won't.
Why, you could amount to something. You could be sitting on the Western Slope Waterboard right now if you'd only go over there and ask them.
Why, if that's what you want, Vida, Harvey and I will go over and ask tomorrow.
Oh, tomorrow? I never want to see another tomorrow. Not if Myrtle and I have to live in that house with a rabbit. Why, our friends never come to visit, and we have no social life, and we have no life at all, really. I wish I were dead, but maybe you don't care. Oh.
Well, I have always felt that Vida should have whatever she wants. Are you certain, Vida? Okay, Doctor, I'll take it. Where should I go?
Okay, just step into Dr. Sanderson's office, Dowd.
Oh, Doctor, would you say goodbye to the old fellow for me?
Dr. Sanderson, how long will this take?
Only a few minutes, so why don't you wait?
We'll wait.
Dr. Sanderson said it would only be a few minutes.
Now, don't say it, Mother.
Well, I just can't help it.
Come in. What do you want?
Well, I'm looking for a little... Oh, there you are, lady. You jumped out of my cab without paying me.
Oh, yes, I forgot. How much is it?
All about here from town? $2.75.
$2.75. Well, I could have sworn I brought my plate first. Well, Myrtle, do you have any money?
No, I spent all the money Uncle Elwood gave me for our hairdo for the party.
Judge, do you have $2.75 I could give this man?
Sorry, nothing but a check.
Oh, we don't take checks.
I know. Oh, Dr. Charlie, do you happen to have $2.75 I could borrow to pay this cab driver?
Oh, I haven't got my wallet with me, and I haven't got time to go back and get it. I have to give the injection now. Sorry.
Well, I can get it for you from my brother, but he's in there to get an injection, so I can't get it right now. You'll have to wait. It won't be long.
You're going to get my money from your brother, and he's in there getting some of that stuff they shoot out here?
Yeah, but it'll just be a few minutes.
Lady, I want my money now.
I told you it'd only be a few minutes. And anyway, I want you to drive us back to town.
And I told you I want my money now, or I'm nosing a cab back to town, and you can wait for the bus at 6 in the morning.
Well, of all the pig-headed, stubborn things.
Oh, I should say
What's the
so.
matter with you?
Oh, nothing. $2.75 won't fix. You heard me. Take it or leave it.
Well, never heard of anything so unreasonable in my life. Dr. Chumley, would you let Elwood step out here a moment, please? This cab driver won't wait.
Don't be long.
Elwood, could you give this cab driver $2.75? I forgot my coin purse. But don't give him any more because he's been very rude.
How you do? Dowd's the name. Elwood Key.
Lochran's mine. E.J.
This is my sister, Mrs. Simmons. And this is my charming little niece, little May Simmons. And this is Judge Gaffney and Dr. Chumley.
Hi.
Have you lived around here long, Mr. Lochran?
Yeah, lived out here all my life.
Do you enjoy your work?
Well, it's okay. I've been with Apex Cabs for 15 years. My brother Joe has been with Brown Cabs for pretty near 12.
You drive for Apex Cabs, and his brother Joe drives for Browns. Now that's interesting, isn't it, Vita? Oh, here, Mr. Lochran, let me give you one of my cards.
Let's get on with it, Dowd.
Oh, just 1 minute, certainly. Now, my sister and my charming little niece live with me right here at this address. And we would just be delighted if you and your brother would come over and have dinner with us some evening. Would you do that?
Oh, sure. Sure, be glad to.
When? When would you be glad to?
Well, I couldn't come any night but next Tuesday. I'm on duty all the rest of the week.
Well, we'll expect you and your brother on Tuesday. Why, we'll expect you and we'll be delighted to see them, won't we?
Elwood, I'm sure this man has friends of his own.
Oh, but Vita, one can never have too many friends.
Well, Elwood, don't keep Dr. Chumley waiting. That's rude.
Oh, yes, of course. I'm sorry. Oh, here. Keep the change. I'm very pleased to have met you, Mr. Lochran, and I'll expect you Tuesday for dinner along with your brother. Would you excuse me for now?
Sure. Sweet guy.
Certainly, and you could have just as well have waited.
Oh, no, listen, lady, I've been driving this route for 15 years. I drove by here to get this stuff, and I've took them back after they've had it. It changes them.
Well, I certainly hope so.
Well, you ain't kidding. Well, on the way out here, they sit back and enjoy the ride. Well, they talk to me. Sometimes we stop and watch the sunsets and the birds are flying. Sometimes we stop and watch the birds are flying when there really ain't no birds. And look at the sunsets when it's a-raining. But we have a swell time. And I always get a big tip. Ooh, but afterwards, uh-oh.
Ooh, but afterwards, uh-oh, what?
Wait, crab. They yell at me to watch the lights and watch the brakes and watch the intersections. They scream at me to hurry. They got no faith in me or my buggy. But it's the same cab, same driver, going back over the very same road. No fun, no tips.
Oh, but my brother would have tipped you anyway. He's very generous, always has been.
Not after this he won't be. Lady, after this will be a perfectly normal human being. We know what bastards they are. Well, glad I met you. I'll wait.
Oh, Judge Gaffney, Colonel May, stop it. Would you come out of there?
Can't go in there. Dr. Chumley is giving the injection.
Now, Mother, come on.
But I don't want Elwood to have it. I don't want Elwood that way. I don't like people like that.
Now, Mother, you have to stop this.
Oh, you shut up. I've lived longer than you have. Why, I remember my father. Why, I remember your father. And I remember my...
What's going on out here? What's all this commotion? What's the problem, Doctor? She's sounding off again.
Why don't you stop the injection?
You haven't given it to him yet, have
No,
you?
but we're all ready. Wilson, take care of her.
Oh, you let go of me, you white striker, you.
Louise, you don't know what you want. You didn't want that rabbit either.
Well, what's wrong with Harvey? Why, if Myrtle May and Elwood and I want to live with Harvey, it's nothing to you. Why, you don't even have to come around. It's our business. Elwood!
Vita. Well, Vita's all upset. She's tired out. She's done a lot today.
Have it your way. I'm not giving up my game at the club again, no matter how big the animal is.
Come along, Elwood. I hate this place. I don't ever want to see it again.
But, see here, Dr. Chumley, it's whatever Vita says.
Oh, isn't that funny? cab driver myself. Harvey. Come on, little babe. Come on, Elwood. Hurry up.
Yes? Good night, Dr. Chumley. Good night, Mr. Wilson.
Come along, Elwood.
Yes. Dr. Chumley, you know, for years I've known how my family felt about Harvey, but you know, I always wondered what Harvey's family felt about me. Oh, there you are. Dr. Chumley, do you mind? You're standing in his way. Where have you been? Well, I've been looking all over for you.